Welcome.
Undisputed.
Great to have
Thanks, guys.
Joining us.
So, Coach Rivers, just before this basketball season started, I turned to my partner across the table, who's a big LeBron James fan, and I said, hey, you better be careful because these Lakers might end up being the second best team in Los Angeles. And so far, so good, right?
Yeah, but I wish the season was over.
I know.
Because we have it's a lot of season left, obviously, and we know the West is hard. Every game. We were talking the other night, Terry Stotts was talking about the same thing. Like, there's no off nights. Like, every night is a struggle. If you lose 3 games in a row, you're out of the playoffs. That's just how the West is. So no time for celebration.
But you do have the best record right now, 13-6. So you beat Oklahoma City, you beat Houston twice. You beat the Spurs, you beat the Grizzlies, you won at Portland the other night, and, of course, in that fateful game, you beat Golden State when they had their little incident. You beat them 121-116 in overtime, and that's a pretty great start for a team that I don't think a lot of people saw coming.
No, I don't think a lot of people saw it. I think we believed it. We're really deep. We can go as deep as 12, easy, on our team, and we don't have the quote-unquote star, but we have a lot of really good players, and that makes it difficult, I think, for other teams because they don't know. Obviously, Lou is your offensive guy most nights, but then Tobias is player of the week this week.
22-9.
Yeah, and young.
Could he be an all-star this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I think he is an all-star. Right. He plays both sides. The kid just works. You would love him. Great guy in the locker room. But like this summer, we asked him to work on a couple of things. He's done them. He's bringing them back. He's facilitating more. And we get along. Like, our team it's a team that they kind of stay out of each other's way. They want each guy to be great, and they don't mind if he's great tonight or you're great the next night. They don't care. And as long as we can keep that, then we're going to continue to be good.
And how good could your young point guard be?
I said it before the year. He's going to be a star, but I don't know what a star means anymore. Right. But he's going to be that, and he's just going to keep getting better. I think his size is underrated every night. I think every night a guard faces him for the first time, they realize, there's some people who are 6'6", and then there's some people who are 6'6". He's the big 6'6". I mean, he's long and athletic.
Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just quickly, before we go to the rest of the West, look back on that team that you had, those teams with CP3 and obviously DeAndre and Blake. What was the key reason it never took off?
It did take off. I mean, over the last 4 or 5 years, we were second or third in the league in wins. What we didn't do is win it. We had some obstacles in our way. The number one is Golden State. And people forget we're the last team to beat Golden State. We beat them, then lost to Oklahoma, who was very good. I don't think that group needs to apologize. They were really good. We didn't win it just like Oklahoma didn't win it with Harden and Westbrook and Durant. So just a tough – winning is hard. I've won 1 title. I've lost 1 in the finals in a Game 7, which I'll never forget. But what you realize, the first thought that I realized when we won it in 2008, I remember sitting in my office thinking, winning a title is hard. I mean, it's just hard to do. And I thought, obviously, we didn't have great chemistry. It wasn't broken, but we didn't have great chemistry. No. And one thing I've learned is you better have great chemistry if you're going to win it because you're going to get tested. And bad things are going to happen during the playoffs, and you're going to have to be able to get through it. And we just didn't.
Yeah. You said something very interesting when Skip asked you about this team, and you said these guys like playing with each other, and they don't care who's successful night in and night out.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you think that was a problem with the old team?
Yeah, I don't know. I would say probably. But, I don't think about it much. I just thought at the end of the day, from a coaching standpoint, we wasn't good enough. Right. We had those 3 guys. We wasn't deep enough either. Right. We were never deep enough. Part of that was my job. I was trying, I was the GM for a couple of those years, trying to bring in talent. Honestly, just couldn't do it. We were cash strapped. We didn't have any. We were making do with minimum contracts. And you think about the guys, from Darren Collison. We signed a bunch of them. but they left after 1 year because they looked great with our group. So that was our biggest issue. And where we are now is we are cash healthy. We have a lot of money.
Right.
And that's a great position to be in. But more importantly, it's a great position to be in with these group of guys.
Right.
We have a great group of guys.
So with LeBron's arrival, do you feel more than ever like the other team in LA?
Well, I think the Lakers are the Lakers, with or without LeBron. But with LeBron, what I have found, for the last 4 or 5 years, I pretty much was left alone in restaurants. No one said anything to me. Now LeBron comes to the Lakers.
Really?
And people, the Laker fans they talk more, So, and I get it. Like, if I think if we picked up LeBron, I would probably talk more too. So I'm fine with that. But I think it's good. I like it. Like, it's funny. A lot of people, oh no, LeBron's coming. What about us? That's good. Like, I think when basketball is talked about in LA, it helps both teams at the end of the day.
So what do you see so far from LeBron's Lakers?
Well, he's been amazing. They're young and they're growing. And they're not to be discounted. I think they're really talented and they're really good. They have, having LeBron and Rondo, I think is so underrated just from a leadership standpoint, the teaching standpoint. I've never, obviously coached LeBron, but I have coached Rondo.
Yes, you have.
And he is, as I've said, he's the smartest. No, he's a handful, but he's in a good way, and he's really grown. Like, we talk so much now, and his maturity has skyrocketed.
You talked to Rondo?
Oh, a lot, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I talked to a lot of my ex-players. That's, what people don't get is the best part about coaching, maybe that. Like, all the past guys that you've coached, and they come back, even some that Rondo and I had an up-and-down relationship at times. But at the end of the day, we always communicated with each other. And what I learned with Rondo, you have to, because he is the smartest guy I've ever been around basketball-wise. Like, and he studies like a coach. And I think that is going to help the Lakers at the end of the day.
What you say that it's going to help the Lakers, but how does that help Lonzo if Rondo is eating up the minutes?
Yeah.
Especially the quality minutes late in the ball game. Does Lonzo ever reach the potential that they need in order for him to move? Because Rondo is going to move on at some point in time.
Yeah, I think it helps him in the long run. And I'm a more believer, like, especially in football, for years, they never played the rookie quarterback.
Right.
It used to drive me crazy. I didn't know football, but I used to say, he's good, he should be playing.
Right.
Lonzo, he's going to be a heck of a player. Like, you can see it.
Right.
It's no doubt in my mind. I know a lot of people doubt him. I don't. I think he's a great passer. He has great instincts. I think his offense will be fine. And I think watching a guy that was just like him, a quote-unquote non-shooter, play the game can only help him.
So how vulnerable does Golden State look right now to you?
Well, they look a little vulnerable, but because Draymond Green and Curry's not playing. Listen, I want to struggle like them someday. I want to be 15-7 and struggling with two of my starters out. One is a 2-time MVP. That can't be discounted. They are different without Curry and Draymond Green. They are, but they should be. I don't buy it. I wish I could have enjoyed the little argument in our game. I didn't know it was going on. That would have been a nice thing to enjoy. But they're the team to beat.
So wait a second. You don't think that little argument could have big ramifications on Kevin and Draymond going forward?
Well, from a competitive standpoint, I hope so. But it won't.
No.
I don't think
You
so.
don't think so?
I don't. I think I've been in a lot of locker rooms. Listen, I've heard some crazy things said to each other.
But that was in the locker room. That didn't come public.
It didn't come public.
Public is a
public
dynamic.
Well, I think everything's public now. I don't think there's any secrets. It's hard. I'm telling you, even in Boston, I saw a couple of fights that were amazing.
Right.
I mean, just if you could have just sat and watched the fight instead of getting involved, it'd have been better. Because they were great. But
You're talking about real fist
No, they're real
fights,
fist fights. And everywhere I've seen them. Practices, you've been in them.
Sure.
They get nasty sometimes, and they're competitive, and guys lose their heads. And, you break them up, and the next day you see the two guys over there giggling, laughing, and that's just sports.
And what role does the coach have to play to break those up or to make them better?
It depends on the fight. Yeah. It really does. I can tell you I've broken some up and some I've watched because I thought this was good, and
it needed
to happen. And, some you have to get in early because you can see it's more. And you got to watch that. I played with the Knicks, and we had Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason and Patrick Ewing and Greg. I mean, there were some fights there that you had to break up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So DeMarcus Cousins is still on ice for Golden State. Says he's going to try to play after Christmas. How will that work? How will that fit?
I don't know, but it's going to work. Listen, they were the one team that could take the chance, really, when you look at it, because of his injury. No one wanted to rehabilitate him and then lose him, And so I thought it was smart for him, and I thought it was smart for Golden State. And he's too good not to help them. Now, I don't know how, but he's just too good. I think his passing is underrated. He's a great passer. And that fits with what they do, so it's going to help him.
That's what concerns me, is because to get Boogie at his best, he needs the ball. Well, and there, the ball is hot potato. And I know he wants to win a ring, but in order for him to get that contract that he wants, he's going to have to put up numbers. Well, how does he get the numbers in that system?
I don't think he needs the numbers. I think he needs the wins. Because if he plays and they win, he'll get the number. If he plays and gets the numbers and they lose, he'll get the blame.
But what about when people say, well, he was like that, he was on his best behavior in Golden State? How can we be assured that when he comes here and there is no culture like in Golden State, he's going to be on his best behavior?
And then don't bring him into a bad culture. you know what I mean? Like, I think, listen, I hope it doesn't work. I'm just being honest. I hope it just explodes. But at the end of the day, if it does work, I think he would have learned a lot of things. And I think behavior is behavior. Like, if he, quote unquote, behaves himself, then he's learned how to.
Right.
And I don't think you regress.
Right.
I think you learn how to win, you become a winner. I don't think that changes.